Bring back the guillotine. Twins. Done. Bingo bongo. I keep trying to be one of these rare mystical unicorns that meal preps, except for I keep running into the problem time and time again of not wanting to eat the same gosh darn thing for dinner for multiple days in a row. And now I have to specify dinner in this scenario because there is an abundance of video evidence that I will in fact eat the same thing for breakfast for a month straight, but not dinner. Never dinner. The thought of that just depresses me. And also I'm very particular about the rewarming of food, which typically is a big part of meal prep, unfortunately. In my humble opinion, microwaving chicken should be a cardinal sin. Bring back the guillotine. I jest. We wouldn't resort to murder. But it tastes funny, and I will eat it, and I won't say anything about it if this happens to me at a restaurant, but I will be disappointed and be complaining to Steven on the ride home in the car. So with all that being said, here I am, still trying to meal prep after all these years. Because the convenience of it is alluring. It's just like this signal, this beacon of hope. The person who pre-plans, pre-preps their meals, they have their ducks in a row. They're efficient. They're the pinnacle itself of health and wellness. Never been me. But I have set my peepers on a product that has the potential to change this. Lo and behold, these food cube thingies. Maybe I should check on what they're actually called. Super cubes, spelt like soup. S-O-U-P. Cubes. That's just the brand that I bought. There are a bunch of other brands out there, but this is the one that I'm gonna be reviewing. They're just these soft silicone molds that let you freeze your shit into pre-portioned food Legos. Iconic. The amounts they hold vary. They come in 2 cup, 1 cup, half cup, and 2 tablespoon portions. So I'm gonna do a bevy of bulk cooking and we're gonna test these babies out. So enough talking, let's get into the recipes. As you can hear by this voiceover, I lied about being done with the talking bit, but I digress. Let's go through the 4 recipes I decided to cube. Starting with a breakfast that has been an obsession meal, an egg scramble. You will need the following ingredients: mushrooms, red onion, jalapeno, red bell pepper, black forest ham, smoked Gouda cheese, and butter. Oh, and also eggs, but they weren't pictured in that little cutting board menagerie. Anyway, start by sauteing your veggies and ham, and maybe undercook them slightly because remember we are freezing these to reheat. And here's the eggs. I guess I wanted to show you this giant one. Look at it in comparison to the normal size one. I thought that this one might be a double yolker, and as you can see when I crack it open, it is twins. But I'm only going to be freezing 2 portions of this egg scramble because honestly, I don't have a lot of faith that this is going to taste good. So here I am just splitting up the veggies straight up into the mold. Then adding 3 raw eggs to each, and the Gouda cheese. And I opted to leave them raw because, again, I'm keeping in mind that I will be recooking this. Plus, I'm kind of curious how the freezing of the eggs will go, because often we have a surplus due to the fact that we have chickens. But once this was completely frozen solid, I just degloved the food from the mold and added it to a Ziploc bag so I could freeze more stuff using the food cubes. I'm also making another favorite of mine, asparagus soup. I kind of feel like we had to make a soup. Since the product is literally called Super Cubes, it just had to be done. And I'll leave all the recipes for these in the description if you're interested in making anything yourself. And you might be noticing at this point that I'm choosing to make meals that I have often. And that's intentional because I know the taste of these things, so I can judge whether or not freezing them changes anything significantly, as opposed to using new recipes that I'm not familiar with. And then after the freezing process, if they don't really taste that good, I might be missing out on a good recipe. So I just stuck with the familiar. But I really enjoy the soup. It's light, it's simple, it's flavorful. Oh, and it's also dairy-free if that's your jam, because it uses coconut cream, which I'm always telling myself I'm going to use more of, because I really like the taste of it as a heavy whipping cream alternative, but I keep forgetting. Oh, and also the color of this is absolutely exquisite, and it tastes good both warm and cold, so even though we're approaching some warmer months, having this cold might be an option. Then I'm just pouring this into my 1 cup super cubes. As you can see, there's these little notches that show you where to fill it to for it to be 1 cup. Very handy. The third recipe is my chicken cauliflower fried rice. I love this for any meal of the day, honestly. I start by putting a little color on the chicken and then adding raw carrots and onion. If you're going to be using frozen carrots, add those with the peas a little bit later on. But once your veggies soften, push everything to the edges of the pan and add some garlic to the center. Cook that for another minute before shoving that to the side as well, and pouring in 6 eggs. This is a protein-packed dish. Once your eggs are scrambled, add your rice, cauliflower, frozen peas, half cup of soy sauce, and I also add 1 tablespoon of ponzu sauce, but this is optional. Then stir everything together, let it get acquainted, cook everything till it's warmed through, and then turn off your burner and add 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil. This adds a nice nutty depth to the dish. And now I'm just portioning them out and I'm done. So the last recipe is zucchini chicken lasagna, and we're also making our own sauce. So you start by rough chopping Roma tomatoes, bell pepper, and onion and adding them to a sheet pan with avocado oil, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. I'm also going to be roasting 2 heads of garlic in its own little packet, so just go ahead and cut those directly in half, add a little bit of avocado oil, and wrap everything cut side up in a little balloon of foil. Then we're going to be roasting all of this in a 400-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes until everyone's like a little bit soft and charred. And once that happens, let this cool for a bit before adding to a blender. If you want a smooth sauce, blend the absolute living hell out of this. And if you want it chunkier, just do some little pulses. But once your veggies are the consistency that you want them, set that aside while you cook your ground chicken. I seasoned this with some ground fennel seeds for a little bit of that sausage flavor, more garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of sage, and accidentally too much Italian seasoning, which I had to scoop some out. Then mush this all around until the meat is browned and add your sauce, as well as I added half a container of cottage cheese to the whole thing just to make it a little bit creamy, and your sauce is complete. So to make this a lasagna, I got all of my cubes lined up and we are just going to layer sauce, thinly sliced raw zucchini, sauce, zucchini, sauce, zucchini. You get the picture. It's like 3 layers of sauce and zucchini, and then you top with Parmesan cheese and mozzarella and then freeze. Today's the day. We're finally gonna eat our food cubes. Now, I've been letting these sit in the freezer for about a week just to kind of like thoroughly be in that state, I guess. I don't know my logic behind that. That's what I decided to do. And if you remember, this frozen mass of food is an egg scramble. I'm probably the most leery of breakfast tasting good because there's nothing worse than an overcooked scrambled egg. But actually that's a bit dramatic because there's lots of things that are worse in this world than an overcooked egg, of course. But in the world of eggs, it's pretty high on the list of things that are bad to me. And because this is going from solid mass to cooked food, I just feel like there's gonna be some overcooking in the process. Now this is melting and kind of burning my hand, so let's get it in a pan. Based solely on appearances, this reconstituted quite nicely. It doesn't appear like I overcooked the egg, so let's go ahead and give this a taste test. Still hits. The texture is a little bit more mushy than it typically is when I make it fresh, but I didn't have to sit there chopping up a bunch of vegetables. I didn't have to sit there weighing stuff out. This is awesome for just like grabbing, throwing in a skillet, and then eating. So far we're 1 for 1. I'm in a little bit of a weird space right now. I'm avoiding the microwave, not because I feel any type of way about it. It's mainly that I just personally feel like food tastes better warmed up on the stove. But I also don't want to make more dishes for myself because food cubes are supposed to be convenient and easy. So my solution for this was tiny pot. I'm just really hoping that the volume of the asparagus soup does not exceed the capacity of said tiny pot. So I'm just letting that warm up for lunch now. To keep with the theme of minimal dishes, I'm just eating out of this little pot as well. All right, let's taste it. It holds up. It tastes just as fresh as the day I made it. But I do have a lemon here, so I am going to squeeze more lemon in it. That livens it up even more. This is amazing. I feel like I'm in the future. This is some astronaut shit. I mean, is it not? I just went to the freezer, got a cube of perfectly portioned food, heated it up. Done. Bingo bongo. Having dinner in Stevie's office. While this was cooking, I went ahead and washed my face, changed into my pajamas, and I'm ready to relax for the day. So let's try this. It tastes like when I made it. Maybe a little bit drier, but that could just be from the reheating. It's good. I think we're 3 for 3 at this point. All right, here we have the lasagna, the last food cube recipe we have to try out. And apparently you can also cook in these things. Sans lid, of course. So I guess I'm gonna try that out. Just popping it straight into the oven in the food cube itself, which I typically probably won't do very often, but we gotta try it. Alright, so my lasagna is a wee bit soupy, but that's not the food cube's fault. That's because I used zucchinis instead of noodles, and I didn't bother trying to take out any of the moisture, so this is what you get. Let's try it. It all held up. It tastes like the day that I made it. I'm not really surprised at this point. We're 4 for 4. It's hot though. So final thoughts, this is in fact a game changer. And this is how I'm gonna approach meal prep going forward. Just too many benefits to ignore. For someone like myself who is tracking what they eat, it makes it so convenient to just grab a block from the freezer and know that it's already portioned out and I can just log it. There's no additional weighing or counting of anything. I know this will come in clutch in the upcoming spring and summer months because I have a lot of time-consuming projects lined up. And I know from past experiences, when I'm engulfed in a project, once mealtime rolls around, I don't feel like cooking. My solution is typically go out to eat. But if I have an arsenal of options ready for me in the freezer, that's gonna save me a lot of money because going out to eat is expensive. I mean, heck, even if you're going to like fast food options, like I participate in a Jimmy John Unwich and my order is like $18 for like a huck of lettuce, meat, mayo, and veggies. I also get a side pickle and unsweetened iced tea, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, for $18? What the hell? But back to the freezer arsenal. I love that there are multiple options. So if me and Steven don't want to eat the same thing for dinner, if he wants a lasagna and I am more feeling the soup situation, okay, easy. We could just eat different things. And most importantly, you don't have to have the same thing night after night because stuff lasts longer in the freezer as opposed to traditional meal prep where you're relying on the fridge to hold your food for up to like 5 days-ish, 3 to 5 days. And believe me, by the 4th day, your food is getting a little bit nasty, a little bit skanky. I honestly can't really think of any negatives to this. Other than the fact that I did cut myself on a rogue asparagus soup block. Okay, listen, I don't know how I did this. I was degloving these soups and I cut myself on the sharp edge of a soup block. What the hell? But that's more of like a me problem rather than like a general public kind of problem. Like, I feel like that's a freak accident. I don't know. I guess like as a word of caution, watch the edges. But other than that, I 10 out of 10 recommend these. They're awesome. I'm really excited to see what other recipes I can turn into a frozen cubed mass and to build up my freezer stash. Very exciting stuff. This is being in your 30s, apparently. But anyways, I guess that's it for this one. As always, I just want to thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, all that jazz. But other than that, I just hope you have yourself a merry little Christmas. No, or like a wonderful day or whatever. Because we are nowhere near Christmas. We'll see you on the next one. Bye!